Let's roll with your first look at news this morning here with Nathan Cohns from the news studio.
Thank you very much, John, and good morning, everyone. The city of Campbellton in Audubon County has been placed under a boil advisory following a water main break in the community's water system. According to the Iowa Department of Natural Resources, repairs are already underway, but the advisory was necessary due to a temporary loss of pressure within the mains. That advisory will persist until laboratory samples confirm the absence of bacteria in the water supply, which typically takes between 48 and 72 hours. And now that we're a day into that advisory, 24 to 48 hours likely remain. Residents are asked to boil any water used for consumption or food preparation for at least 2 minutes before use, or to use bottled water as an alternative. Officials say the water remains safe for activities like showering, laundry, and outdoor use without boiling. Questions or concerns can be directed to the city water operator by calling 641-740-1942. And again, city of Campbellton under a boil advisory likely until about midday on Saturday. Looking elsewhere, data from 2023 real estate sales from the city of Carroll show homes are selling faster and at higher prices than just a few years ago. Mike Franey from Mid-Iowa Insurance and Real Estate, who also serves as president of the Carroll County Growth Partnership, says the local market is healthy. Still, there were some noticeable shifts in the data last year, starting with the average sale price for a home. In 2019, the average home sold for $154,000, but that figure increased to $190,000 in 2023. Franey says multiple factors play into the nearly 25% jump, but he believes low housing stock is a key contributor.
Less supply is going to increase the price. There's people that have to buy or decide they want to rent. Supply and demand.
Franey adds that the cost of building a home has increased tremendously in recent years, adding to those higher home prices. Despite the higher prices, the average time in the market for a home in Carroll was just 41 days compared to 99 days in 2019. He says fewer property owners were selling last year, too.
2023, and this includes FSBOs, for sale by owners, and everything. 153 transactions, single-family dwellings in the town of Carroll. You know, and you spin back to 2018, there's 172. But you go back just 1 year, 2022 is 215. So we lost 62 from last year.
Franey adds another contributing factor is a slowdown in new homes being added to the housing stock. Only around 24 new homes were built in 2023 compared to the 50 or so that were built annually 20 years ago. Franey says there's clearly a demand for housing, but filling that demand is increasingly more challenging.
It costs a lot to build right now, you know, and construction materials are up, and certainly they've come back a little bit, but they're never going to go back to where they were prior to COVID. Lack of labor. All right, you see in Des Moines or the big cities about the big track building, 10 in a row. Well, Carroll's not used to that. There's a quality issue, too. Quality that you're getting in Carroll, that's better than you're going to get from a spec builder that building track homes.
City officials have aggressively pursued incentives for new homes, such as the infill housing program, tax abatements, as well as partnerships with developers. Franey says those efforts do appear to be working, but Carroll has underbuilt for more than 10 years, and it will take time to build its way out. And after months of decreasing gas prices, Iowans saw an unwelcome jump at the pump over the past week. According to the Iowa Department of Agriculture and AAA Iowa, the average cost for a gallon of regular unleaded gas in the state rose 12 cents to $2.87 per gallon. The state's prices remain 46 cents below the average for this time last year. The national average on Wednesday was a more minor increase, climbing to $3.14 from $3.10. Retail diesel prices dropped 2 cents to $3.57 per gallon, compared to $4.30 a year ago. The national average stands 37 cents higher than Iowa at $3.94. Wholesale ethanol held steady at $2.16, and heating fuels, propane prices climbed 1 cent to $1.58 per gallon. Home heating oil dropped 4 cents to $2.97 per gallon, and natural gas at the Henry Hub reporting site plunged 53 cents to $2.12 per MMBTU. That is going to be wrapping up your KCIM 6 o'clock news. I'm Nathan Cohns reporting.
Yeah, there's a lot of eye-opening numbers involved with the housing here around Carroll, like we were talking about it yesterday. And I think Mike makes a great point that, you know, you see Des Moines bidding up all these tract houses, and they're this price, and oh, it's a great deal. They're not built with the quality. If you walk through some of those houses, man, you can just feel that they're just not the quality that you're going to have around here.
Yeah, this is a story I shared with him following our interview. I've got a buddy who lives out in kind of the Omaha metro area, and he lives in an area where every house, there's probably 400 houses that were built over the last 4 or 5 years, and they all look the exact same. It is a soulless neighborhood, and it pains me. I could never live in a place like that. Like, the tallest tree is like 3 feet tall. It's awful. Anyway, very nice house when they first moved in. Starting to fall apart on them. And I feel for my friend. It was not cheap for him to buy that house. But I live in a 100-plus-year-old house, and I mean, it's got issues, sure, but no worse than what the brand new house had.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, they're not building houses the same way. They're not building them to last 100 years or 50 years in a lot of those cases. So, but it's just that, the prices have skyrocketed. It's never going to be the same as it was before with all the pricing. But, that's the biggest problem facing small towns like Carroll is housing. How are we going to solve that? But also, you don't want to put up just anything for people to live in.
Yeah, absolutely. And then not only that, but it seems sometimes that, affordable housing is becoming less and less affordable. But if you look nationwide, Carroll and really Iowa at large, outside of like the very popular metro areas, Waukee, Ankeny, what have you, home prices are remarkably affordable compared to the national average. I believe it's over $400,000 nationwide now, the average price for a home.
Wow, that's another shocking number right there. Is that so? Yeah, there's a lot to dig into, and then we could spend a whole day talking about housing and all that stuff here. But great story, yeah, kind of one that you almost want to take a deeper dive into, don't you?
Well, I wish I had bought my house in 2019.
Yeah.
That's some solid asset growth, shall we say.
Yeah, no kidding. A little regret went into that story. So thanks, Nathan, for the news update once again. You can take a look at that story and more, all available on the website, the mobile app. I mean, you get everything there. Sports as well. The Girls State Wrestling Tournament going to be going on again today with our complete wall-to-wall coverage. So we'll talk more about that coming up. Up next, we will tell you about your weekend weather forecast. How warm is it going to be? We'll have the answer in about a minute.